But let's get to the next headliner topic on this edition of the Rock News Roundup podcast, and that is Nine Inch Nails have made their return with their first new music since 2020. The new single, As Alive as You Need Me to Be, was just released from the upcoming soundtrack that they're doing to the movie Tron Ares, the third Tron movie, the follow up to the 80s classic and 2010s Tron Legacy. The album, the soundtrack is going to come out on September the 19th. And then the movie itself, Tron Ares with Jared Leto in the lead role, comes out on October the 10th. Now, if you've heard this new single, As Alive as You Need Me to Be, like this is the perfect mix of Trent Reznor, Nine Inch Nails, and Tron. It's just the perfect mix of the two sounds of those entities. And obviously it makes sense that Nine Inch Nails would do a Tron soundtrack because they're one of the greatest bands, not just in industrial and rock, but like electronic music, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. So this is a very cinematic song that has a great vocal from Trent Reznor. I love hearing his voice because I feel like he has that signature snarl, and he still continues to be a great vocalist and add that iconic voice to every Nine Inch Nails song. And then it's a big thing to follow up because the last people that did the soundtrack for Tron Legacy in 2010 was Daft Punk, who are one of the best electronic dance bands out there. So Nine Inch Nails have their work cut out for them to follow up Daft Punk with another iconic Tron soundtrack. But I do feel like this is a really great pairing, having the electronic world of Tron and the grid with the music of Nine Inch Nails. So this new soundtrack is going to feature 24 tracks. So it's going to have kind of both elements of it. It's going to have a score. It's going to have original songs as like this new single, As Alive as You Need Me to Be. So we're going to get some more of the soundtrack side of things because obviously Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross have been very active doing soundtracks over the last decade or so. Like they started out pretty slow. They did the Social Network soundtrack back in 2010, which is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. But then they've continued to do a lot of soundtracks, more so than Nine Inch Nails over the last decade or so. So they did the Gone Girl soundtrack, Bird Box. They did the soundtrack for the Watchmen series on HBO. They did the soundtrack for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, the animated movie, which came out a couple of years ago, which I really loved. That was a great movie. They did the soundtrack for Challengers. That movie was Zendaya that came out last year. So they've stayed very busy with doing soundtracks more so than Nine Inch Nails. There has been some Nine Inch Nails stuff over the last couple of years. I think the last thing they put out was Ghost 6 Locusts in 2020, but there hasn't really been so much of a traditional Nine Inch Nails album. I think Hesitation Marks, which came out in 2013, was probably their most traditional album. Then they released a series of EPs alongside doing these different soundtracks. But this is the first kind of full-fledged Nine Inch Nails album that we've gotten from them in a while. This is the first soundtrack that they've done under the Nine Inch Nails name. So this is really cool. And again, Nine Inch Nails not really strangers to doing soundtracks. Obviously, we know Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross under that moniker have done lots of soundtracks, but Nine Inch Nails have done a lot over the years as well. They did Dead Souls from the Crow soundtrack back in the 90s, The Perfect Drug, which is one of my favorite Nine Inch Nails songs, from the Lost Highway soundtrack in 97. They did the song Deep from the Tomb Raider soundtrack back in the day, the one that starred Angelina Jolie. So they've kept very busy doing soundtracks and doing various different things, but they're bringing things together. Trent and Atticus and Nine Inch Nails are bringing things together, the soundtrack side of their career with the Nine Inch Nails side of their career. Nine Inch Nails are going on tour very soon, so it's good to have them back. They never really went away, but this is kind of the first real Nine Inch Nails stuff that we've gotten in about 5 years time. And I saw Nine Inch Nails live once back in 2009 on the Slip tour. One of the best concerts that I've ever been to. The production of the show, along with the sound of the show, it was one of the best concerts that I've ever seen. I don't have tickets to go see them coming up, but I'm really looking forward to the new Tron Ares soundtrack. Don't know if I'm going to go see that movie in theaters. Might wait for it to start streaming on Disney Plus to check that out. But this new song, As Alive as You Need Me to Be, very cool. It starts out with a very hypnotic riff, a little bit like almost like a Stranger Things vibe going on this song, but a very cool track, very cool vocal from Trent Reznor. And like I said, this is like a match made in heaven. You got Tron, you got Nine Inch Nails, bringing them together for some electronic mayhem. Looking forward to seeing how the music fits into the movie, but I'm sure it's going to do really, really well. If the movie doesn't do well, at least we know that we're going to get a good soundtrack. But hop in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this new song from Nine Inch Nails, As Alive as You Need Me to Be. Are you excited for the Tron Ares soundtrack? Are you going to check them out live? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about the return of Nine Inch Nails.